I've heard a lot of this. I've heard a lot of it. Are you crazy? Are you destroying your career? You just don't do this, right? There is this hint that it's time where I feel like a blah.
And for sure, it helped me to become the leader today. It was through that experience.
Right. If you feel you might regret something, later on just go and do it, even if it's a disaster.
Have you ever thought about taking a big break from work? Today's guest not only thought about it, but she did it, and not once, but 3 times. Meet Jana, who went from a big corporate job to a 3-year adventure sailing around the world. And now, she's the founder of Meiro and started a non-profit organization called SheLovesData with 30,000 members. In this episode, you will learn the power of sabbaticals and how to prepare for one, how to build a fulfilling career, and how to overcome moments of doubt. Let's go! What drives you?
What drives me is a deeper conversations. I don't like to stay on surface. I like to expand my horizon. So I wouldn't say I'm adventurous, but I like to explore the unknown. I like to go to new territories. I like to kind of be in situations that are new to me and learn what it means and what it is. And even if I don't like those situations sometimes, I know that, okay, so this is not the direction to go. I've tried, so let's go somewhere else. So it's a curiosity, I think. Deeper connections with people and being a good person.
That's wonderful. And what breaks your heart about what's happening in the world or around you?
War. I am a political refugee. So I left my country when I was 18 due to the regime and due to basically the political situation. So I didn't leave because of the war, but I can imagine how hard it is for people leaving their homes and their countries because of the war, because it's not safe. I spoke with one of my friends who is from Ukraine, and she had to leave her country, and she told me, but I don't want to be a refugee. I want to be home. I can't be at home and be safe, and that's difficult. So this breaks my heart.
Nice. You had you transitioned from a corporate job. You did sabbaticals. You started your own business. There's a lot of shift there. In those moments where there were doubts and you were questioning yourself, how did you overcome that moments when you were shifting?
So in those moments, you are usually shaken by all the external factors and opinions and people and society expectations. What you should do and how your life should look like and how your life should be lived. And I always believed that if I have a strongly defined values for myself, and if I allow those values to change over time and test them, are they still valid? Is it still something that is true to me? Then I can test all my decisions against those values, that it doesn't matter what is happening outside there and what other people are saying, what their opinions are, or what their expectations are, because they don't live my life. So I think because I made the decision fairly early in my life to, leave my country and live independently from the regime or people telling me how to live. So I already made this first step into this unknown fairly young. And when I made those career changes, it felt much easier. But it was always defining for me, what do I want to get out of it? Why am I doing it? And if I stay in the same job or in the same situation, am I learning something new? Am I expanding and growing as a person? And if the answer was no, then the next step was so easy to make for me.
Yes, but what I find interesting is that you live based on a set of values. But what I like is that you mentioned that you start testing those values. How do you do that?
And I believe that the first part of our life, let's call it a first half, we are driven by ego and ambition, and we are testing how high we can go. And that's right, that's good, because you need to set yourself up, financially, whatever your financial independence means for you in a different, stages of life. And then as you go through this and you achieve a certain thing, suddenly the achievement is not so important. It's what you learn, and it's what you kind of see, and how you, and what kind of impact it has on you and the society, the community. And it doesn't need to be big communities, that doesn't need to be a big, amazing results of achieving, that people live better on this world, but it might be small stuff. But it's important to kind of understand what are those small things or big things that make sense for you at that stage of life. And then there is a certain switch, I believe, that the ego is not so important anymore, because you've done that, you did whatever you needed to do to ditch the perfection and kind of accept yourself as, hey, this is Jana with the good and bad. I dare to accept myself with everything I'm bringing, at this given point. And then it's more about the soul. Let's call it soul. And it's more about the it kind of switches, and I will call it spirituality. So suddenly different things are important, different values are important, and it kind of switches from more the material, external, into the internal, meaningful activities. A long answer to a simple question.
No, it's okay. So it looks like you work a lot on your self-awareness, right? So you ask deeper questions, and then you are able to identify these shifts in your feelings, how you feel with different situations, which, as you say, it shifts over the course of your life.
Exactly.
That's very interesting. And in this course of your life, like, what has been one of the most difficult moments that you had, and how did you overcome it?
There were things where we had a tragedy in my family, which basically reshifted the relationships within our family, and we all questioned who we are and how we can again be better people. To reflect on that tragedy, our nephew died. My nephew died.
Oh wow! Sorry to hear about that.
And it was important to as well understand, what is actually important in life. And this is when I realized that going deeper and having deeper connection with people is actually the most important thing in life, because if you can impact positively someone else, or maybe show different direction, or show a different angle of thinking, or anything, or even getting to know the person better, then it's fascinating. Because I think all the material things that we build, it's great, but so what, right?
I really like what you meant, like in those difficult moments, you have to take decisions, and you just, in that moment, you just accept the consequences, whatever it is, right? And you just take the best decision, as you did. And also it also makes you question what is really important for you, right?
Exactly.
Nice. Now I think what I would like to talk with you is about your sabbatical. So you took 3 sabbaticals. How did you dare to take 3 sabbaticals? Were you crazy or what? I'm just joking.
I've heard a lot of this. Are you crazy? Are you destroying your career? You just don't do this, right? So basically, it was something unusual. and you didn't do these kind of things. You know, you went back after school to work and you started to work. So the three of us, me and my two classmates, we did this trip, and it was fantastic. And this is where I realized that, you know, you can learn so much by taking a train, you know, from Kuala Lumpur to Singapore, at that time all the way to downtown Singapore, and meeting people and talking to everyone, seeing the cultures was an amazing experience. So I was always drawn to those like unusual experiences. So when I took another sabbatical, which was the sailing around the world, I took maybe 1 or 2, 3 months in between, but that doesn't count for me because I take years of sabbaticals, right? So my sailing around the world was 3 years and 3 months. I didn't know how long it's gonna take. And I remember when we started to plan the trip, I kind of felt it so unclear. And I was excited about that. But then when we had everything ready and was like, okay, that's it. And I need to start to plan for it. And I went to my boss and told him, look, in about 10 months, I want to take sabbatical. And he asked me for how long. And I said, I don't know. Might be a year, might be a year and a half. I was optimistic, time optimist. And he said, what do you mean you don't know? It's like, you have to plan it. And I was like, I understand. And then we agreed that I will quit my job. What I did was like, okay, so if I don't leave this month, it's okay. I can leave the months later. And the same with people around me who were telling me, I was a country manager of 2 countries at the time, at a quite young age. And everyone said, you are ruining your career because when you come back after a year and a half to whatever, what are you going to do? And my mindset was like, I don't know, we'll see then. If I focus on that now, I will probably never go. So I think it was being chilled about it. And when people ask me, why do you do this? I had a very compelling reason. And it was like, going and sailing around the world, it's a possibility that maybe comes once in a lifetime. And if I chicken out and I say no, maybe I will regret it my entire life. And that's another motto I have. Like, you know, if you feel you might regret something, later on just go and do it, even if it's a disaster. At least you know.
Can you paint us, how did it feel, the moment where you were in the middle of your trip and you were just feeling like so much joy, so much happiness. You were doing something that you love, which like you took a sabbatical. How did it feel for you? Can you help us to understand?
Look, for me, and especially on the sailboat, there are so many new things for you as a person who's not a sailor, that you learn so many new things. And I remember one moment where I was like so amazed, was like, or maybe let me tell you 3. One was when I caught my first tuna. And then you have your lunch and you go like, oh my God. Because we were fishing and it didn't work out. And suddenly, you know, after we got to Tahiti, I talked to some fishermen that they gave me their hooks and they gave me some tips. And then, oh my God, it went on and on and on. It was amazing. Second was when I saw first whales kind of coming up and just next to you. And then I felt like, oh my God, what if they, move wrongly and and we capsize because they are playing with us, And so I remember seeing them and then seeing them jumping behind you. It's just majestic. Yeah. It's amazing. And then being there in the middle of the night and seeing the sky and feeling like you are nothing. You are no one, yet you're here. You connected to this amazing, world, which is so vast, because you see through the universe. And I love the night watches because of this, because you're there and then there is no way you can hide from yourself, from this feeling of you are nothing. Very humbling.
What unexpected part of you learn during that trip?
The ability to be with myself and not fill the space with other people and things and and events and doing something all the time. And I needed that. That was a big learning for me. As well, that no matter what is happening, you kind of react at that moment the best you can. And that's it. That's it. Try to do the best you can at that given moment. And if it's not perfect or if it doesn't turn out well, at least you know you tried. You know, because there were situations like we went through places where there are a lot of pirates, and we never went with convoy. We were always on our own. And I remember, you know, when we were between Somalia and you know, going to the Red Sea, we knew from the reports of our sailors how the pirates look like. And then I remember sitting, you know, it was 5 o'clock in the morning. I was fishing, sitting there waiting for the sunrise, but you could already see. And then there were some boats coming towards us. And there were guys, you know, sitting in the boat, and they looked like from, you know, Pirates of Caribbean. And you go like, oh my God, this is it. And we stripped the boat from, you know, all the electronics, and, you know, you get ready for those passages. And so I was there, and I ran down, you know, I woke up the captain, and I'm like, this is it, man, that this is happening. And about 3-4 weeks prior our journey through this territory, they were shooting, and someone got killed. And we knew it because there's this safety portal for sailors. So I'm like, oh my God, it's happening here. And then what I was surprised was that you don't panic. I was sitting down there and just waiting, and you take it second by second, minute by minute, and just wait. So they came to our boat, they grabbed us. And then there were guys, you know, 4 guys in this high-speed boat. And then they were asking us if we have cigarettes. I said, sorry, we don't smoke. Then they asked us for water. So we went in and gave them water. And then your heart is like, you know, like that. And you go like, if this is it, like, then in a way, be it. Because you're here, you can't do anything else. And then I remember one of the guys who was talking to us, like, went down. And then he pulled up a tuna and said, like, if we want to buy it. So I went down and I showed him my tuna that I caught before. And I said, we don't need. And they were like, oh, okay. And they left. And we were sitting there thinking like, you know, because a lot of those situations, the pirates are not real pirates, but it's just accidental and occasional. And so in situations like that, what I realized is that you are really pretty okay. And that was surprising. I think what the sabbaticals for me means that I don't think we are here to work. You know, we are not defined by our profession and our business cards. We are people with various different backgrounds, dreams, goals, ambitions. And those not necessarily need to be work.
I also did 3 sabbaticals. I went through the same process. I heard a lot, you are crazy.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, in those moments where you were taking such a huge decision and you had, let's say, your community not supporting you, how did you feel? And what was your thought process? What made you take the step?
It was just not really listening to the people around because they had many opinions. Yeah. They had many advice. From a point, they have never done that, so it was unusual for them. So they were worried for me. They were, you know, kind of, you know, you crazy, and we know you crazy, but this is super crazy. So, like, you know, but you just have to, again, you know, have a reason why you go ahead with this decision and just go and do it.
For people who have this feeling like, oh, I would love to take a break, I would love to do a sabbatical, what's your advice for them?
I would plan it. I think it's good to have enough time to plan it. So no matter where you are today, kind of define why you're taking sabbatical, what do you want to get out of it? and have enough time to adjust and plan it so, you don't need to burn bridges or, run away from situations, ideally, okay? I think it's important to know what you want to do. Why are you taking this leave? And it might be for various reasons. You want to explore, you want to do something else, you want to create this void, you want to clear your mind, you want to be healthier, or you want to be basically able to define what you want to do as a next chapter after your sabbatical.
You mentioned before that your career, a lot of things happen by accident. But also you mentioned that it's really important for you to know why you are doing this. How did you know what you wanted to do next? Either a sabbatical or either to change career or start your own business? How did you know?
So I didn't know. I just opened several doors, and I believe in the power of creating opportunities and alternatives. And to be honest, like when I came here and after 1.5 years, I started to look for a job. It was super hard for me to get that because I didn't build a professional community and network. And so after struggling for 4 or 5 months, I finally landed a really good job in a very good corporation, global multinational, on a great position. But I realized that the job description I got is exactly everything I've done. So when after struggling for 5 months finding a job, when I finally got the dream job, I thought, at that moment, I got my contract, I was not able to sign it. And I slept on it, and the next day I called them and I said, I can't take that job. And then I cried on my husband's shoulder. I said, I can't take it. It went against my values because I realized that I take just a job but I will not learn anything. So for me, it's very important to kind of expand my horizons, to learn something new. At that point, I actually started to work for a startup in a digital space. And I did not, and this is as well the change between the ego and the soul, okay? Or the spirit, or whatever you want to call it. Because I knew that I already done whatever I needed to do in the corporate career. And if I go back there, I will just repeat it. And I don't need that. Suddenly there was no need for that. But I had a need to learn something new. And I had a need to define what's important in terms of my relevancy.
What is your advice for people that are stuck in an unfulfilled career, but they don't have the courage to take the step to change? What's your advice?
There's one sentence that is very important and has been really a guiding principle for me. And it is, it's never too late for anything. To learn something new, to change, to pivot. It's never too late to even reposition yourself as an individual, as a professional. It's okay. I think when there are people out there and they are going like, yeah, but this is a next great career step. I would always ask, does it make you happy? Does it bring this sparkle? Does it bring this like, yay, I'm looking forward to that? Not every day. I have to say that I have mornings where I go like, oh, I wish I could take sabbatical right now. But I know what I'm doing, why I'm in it, and that it's meaningful for me. Okay? So it's as well being relevant and doing relevant things and meaningful things for me and for, the society. So that's I think the guiding principle.
Love it. And what do you expect to achieve with SheLovesData?
Look, SheLovesData is a passion project. It's really something. So I have my own company together with my co-founders, which is a tech startup today, 50 people, on 3 continents. It's exciting. It's amazing because we do things that are relevant for businesses of other people. But the purpose, I think, of my life right now is to positively influence other people and give them possibility to be more independent, to get better paid jobs, to be ready for this future of work, to future-proof their careers so they can get better pays, and they can positively influence next generations, and especially women. So SheLovesData is focusing on educating women and men today in data, tech, and digital, because building the foundational knowledge and literacy in this space is critical today and will be even more critical as we go. So every job, in a certain way will have technology and data in it. And it's important that we understand it. And even if we work with an Excel sheet, or table, we work with data and have a foundational knowledge about all those things that are not so new and the new and upcoming, artificial intelligence, how does it gonna influence our lives and our professions. It's important to upskill self. So it's helping with this upskilling on the hard skills, so kind of filling the competence gap, but as well filling the confidence gap by being part of the community, belong. I think belonging is very, very important word, feeling, emotion that we look for in today's world. In today's technical digital world, we need to belong to community, to network, and that's what SheLovesData is. And hopefully, last but not least, the leadership gap, so that we build, and this is where we started our conversation, so we're going back and loop it back to the beginning. So we built a better, more diverse leadership groups, so we make better decisions for us, for the world, for the humanity. And I believe that those small movements, we have 30,000 people in a community, 180 volunteers, we are present in 15 countries, and we can do so much more.
Yeah.
But those movements, those social movements are so important on so many levels. So I feel very good about it. And even if I'm tired and my whole, free time is sometimes filled with SheLovesData, I feel good about doing something that matters because it influences and gives better life possibilities for other people.
It's amazing what you've been doing with SheLovesData and how many people you are impacting. So I love it. Well done.
Thank you.
Good. We're coming to the end, and I
Yeah.
have only one more question. People ask you a lot of questions. What is one question that probably no one has asked you before and you would love to answer?
I think I need to spin this a little bit, because I feel that, people ask questions, but what I would like to see more of is that when people ask questions, they are ready to actively listen. I feel that in today's world, there is so much content, so many opinions, so much to see and learn, but our attention span is getting shorter. And people ask you simple questions, how are you? And then they think already about something else without waiting for the answer. And so what I would like to be asked more often is not a question that is unique and I have never been asked, but it's about being asked questions that are day-to-day questions and saying, how are you today? And waiting for my answer and being there and actively listen and react and give the attention to each other in a way that it really feels like connecting to another human being, and it really feels like that I'm interested in your answer. So I wish for more deeper questions with attention. That's what I wish for.
What a lovely way to finish our conversation. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for sharing your incredible stories from your sabbatical and for inspiring, hopefully, people who are stuck doing things that doesn't fulfill them. They can take that first step and follow what they love. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for a lovely conversation.